Hey, it's Raven Tactical here. I'm going to do this one on food. So, we're going to talk about kind of food preps and food storage, right? So, hopefully in the future, well, pretty soon we'll have my wife talk about kind of the other side of this coin about doing food, and we'll do our food storage prep, showing you how it works. But I'm going to talk about the concept of, when you look at the emergency foods, they're all labeled at, we have 10 meals in this box. And if you look at the meals, they're all 1,400 calorie meals, right? So if you look at it, people are like, well, I got stocked up 30 years worth of food. And the reality is you have maybe 15 years of food. Excuse me. And I'll explain why, right? The average male working in a labor-intensive thing will require about 3,000, maybe even 4,500 calories to maintain it. I mean, it's pretty much, if you can look at what a soldier does through basic training or a lot of the intense training, you're burning so much calories. You're burning energy. I'll give my example. And so I joined the military, and I was really fat. Like, I know I don't look like great now, but like I was pretty fat, like fat. And I had worked out when I enlisted. I did a delayed entry, and I had worked out quite a bit, lost weight, but then I gained it back right before I went, and so it was tough, right? I went in probably closer to 260, just fat, like not a lot of muscle at all, and I basically came out around 168, 169 after about 14 or 15 weeks of basic training, including the in-process week. So, I mean, you're looking at, I lost that much weight, and now you're going to sit there and go, well, you didn't eat. Well, of course I ate. I ate, the first week might have been a little rough getting adjusted to the food, but you couldn't get enough food, and that was the thing that you started noticing. I didn't realize I lost that much weight until the end, when we all jumped on it, because you don't really weigh yourself or anything, and we jumped on a scale at the end, and I'm like, holy cow. And then, then you realize in the mirror, you're looking, your face is sunken in, you start looking like a POW victim kind of thing, like, holy cow. And what it was is you just couldn't get enough food. I mean, what we were getting was mostly carbs, fast energy kind of things. Like, you might get deep fat breakfast, which is like going to if you want to call it a restaurant, right? So you go there and get what you need, or a buffet would be an easier way to say it. And you get everything you can get, and you cram it, eat it, and that would be 6:30 in the morning. And then you wouldn't get lunch till 11:30, and depends if you're training or not. It might be an MRE, or it might be going back to the buffet line and getting that again. You cram that down, and then I think we had dinner chows around 6, maybe 5, 6 o'clock. So, I mean, again, if you're in the field, it's an MRE, or they'd bring you hot chow, or it would be, again, another buffet meal. But you couldn't get enough food, and that was the thing. You were literally burning so much because everything was marching to the chow hall, marching where you're going to go shoot. You walked everywhere you went, you did, you just walked, you rucked, you carried, you ran, you're doing PT every day in the morning for an hour to 2 hours. It was just intense, and you just burned everything you could. So by the end, it was nuts. I started when we went to the AIT, which is basically your career part where you learn your trade or skill. I went into mechanics, so it wasn't like as intense. The training in the PT was still intense. In fact, the PT got a little harder. It's just you weren't doing it all day. You got to go to a classroom. Basically, you'd march to the classroom. You do PT in the morning, get breakfast, go to the classroom, do your, everything that you needed to learn. You'd go to lunch, come back to the classroom, do this, and then come back. So then I filled out to went from like 168 to feeling like about 200 pretty solid. That's probably the best shape I've ever been in, maybe when I was deployed. Excuse me. And it was, a good eye-opening experience. You learn about like food and how much you're gonna need, and people of like, not everybody's the same body structure, right? So you take a bigger guy, you're gonna need more food to sustain it. I'm not saying that you would fall apart eating 1,400 calories, but you're gonna lose a lot of weight. And I started losing. So you burn fat first. Your body will eat the fat. Your body eats the fat. When there's no more fat, you start burning muscle. And when you go to the bathroom or you pee, it starts smelling like rubber, because that's muscle burning through your whole body. And that's when you start realizing that you have nothing left. I remember taking that last PT test at the end of basic training, and physically, like, we worked out all the time, and it was just like, I'm sitting there working out afterwards, on my own at night, and I'm like, man, I just feel like I don't have anything left. And I didn't know I had lost that much. But yeah, you were losing even muscle mass. You were losing even that. Like, it was probably a borderline thing. But food is such a key thing. And calorie counts and being able to get enough calorie intake. I mean, I'm telling you, you probably would need, for an average male, for someone probably, a bigger male would probably need between 4,000 and 5,000. I'm not saying that like you needed to maintain that 260 pound weight, because that was unhealthy, but dropping so far below where you're actually pretty much starving yourself isn't good. I mean, the solutions that you're going to have to come up with are you're going to do a really hard reality check about your food prep, because the reality is you probably have an idea in your head of how much you're going to need, and then I would say double it. Double it, because you're not used, for the most part, most of us aren't used to, doing everything by hand, walking everywhere we go, especially if there's no modern conveniences and equipment. So let's just face that reality with us. If you're looking at food preparation, start planning your calories as, if you have adult males, probably prep for 4,000 calories, maybe even higher. Excuse me. I know when I went through winter survival or winter combat training, they really, again, focused on this, and it was an eye-opening experience, too, with learning, what does it take for, a soldier to go through this? Well, yeah, they talk about women don't burn as much as men, and they talked about it, and they said, walking in, you're like, do not use this as a chance to drop some weight or anything. You'll pass out. And, we worked and rucked and probably did 15 clicks, which is, each click is about 0.6 of a mile a day with a ruck and a pack. Sometimes you're pulling the Akio sled and the team, and you're moving, and so you're doing that, and then you would set up shelter. So then you're setting up shelter, so now you're still working. I remember one of the most vivid moments was we were setting up our shelter, because you had to build it out of trees and stuff, whatever you could find. We both realized that you started throwing up in your mouth a little bit, you just had that regurgitated feeling, going, well, that's weird. Then you realized we haven't eaten all day, and we just burned through everything. So we had to sit down, force ourselves to eat like a winter MRE, and kind of get some stuff down, get some calories in us, because we had burned through everything. So you eat that. Some other things to consider too would be, I'd recommend having some sort of sweet, like a hard candy. That was one thing that the infantry guys really gave me a great tip. So you're going up, you're working hard. For us, say we're doing a ruck up this hill, and one of them said, hey, he had some sugary candy, like sugary gummy bears or sugar, really intense sugar thing. And he's like, this is just a glucose bump, you're depleted, you're getting tired, you're getting exhausted, and this kind of gives you a perk. And it's also kind of like a good, sugar is a booster to the morale. So I mean, having some things like that on hand too, you're gonna work hard, this kind of post-event, or you're gonna work hard, when everything is kind of down. So these are things to kind of prepare for. Don't short yourself on food, because the reality is, if you're planning on living on 1,400 or less calories a day, you're gonna be in a world of hurt. You're gonna be, a shell of what you were, and you won't have the strength to do the stuff that you need to do. You need to be in top physical shape. Your body won't be able to fight disease and sickness and all this stuff if you're basically living on rations that the Holocaust are living on. Can you do it? Yes, it's doable. Like I said, basic training was doable, and we were eating a lot. What the things in basic training that would screw you over on was hot chow in the field. You pretty much got a plate of food, and it wasn't a whole lot. Or if you had an MRE, it was like, jeez, you're trying to wolf down that all in 2-3 minutes, and you're like, man, there's not a lot in there. I mean, it still is calorie-wise, but you're just completely calorie deprived. You're just completely shot. Granted, you probably won't be working maybe it that hard, but I'm just telling you, for a heads up, you kind of need to get into that mindset. Start thinking about preparing for food, and it's not my real big area. I know, like, Palmetto Prepper really is great at cooking and stuff. Well, my wife's great at cooking and making these small meal packages, so this will go together with it. But I'm just telling you, calorie-wise, if you are just going to sit there and try to live up a Mountain House meal and tell you that, 15 days from now, I got 2 weeks. In reality, you might have 7 or less, Think about it. It's per person. So make sure you can also get meat and protein, and, you're going to need all these things. Don't forget sugar. Anyways, the video went a little bit longer than I intend to. Excuse me. It's Raven Tactical and Raven Tactical out.